Hello, welcome back. I'm going to run for a political position one of these days. And here's the reason why. I apparently have one of those faces that's highly recognizable no matter where I go around this country. Now, case in point, I used to do a lot of traveling, and it didn't seem to matter where I went. There was always somebody that would say, they would mistake me for someone else. You always hear about having a doppelganger somewhere, but it seemed like I had one in every single town. It didn't matter if it was in Cleveland, Ohio, Newark, New Jersey, Sikeston, where was Sikeston in? Missouri, that's where it was at. Sikeston, Missouri, all the way out in California, out in LA. I would have people mistake me for somebody they thought they knew. And they'd say, man, I know you from somewhere. First time I've ever been here. I've never seen you before a day in my life. So, I get this big head. Maybe I am just that recognizable. And one of these days, I'm just going to run for political office. Because, hey, if you got a recognizable face, why not? Case in point, I was down in Sikeston, Missouri one time. And Sikeston, Missouri is one of these little small towns. And maybe about the size. If you're from southern Indiana, think Bedford. And it definitely wasn't as big as Bloomington, but more maybe around the Bedford size. So anyway, back in the day, I used to smoke, and unless I was going to one of the bigger cities, I would take a carton with me. But if I was in a small town like Sikeston, Missouri, then I would every morning when I'd leave the hotel, I would stop by a gas station. I would pick up a pack of cigarettes and a cup of coffee, and usually something to eat from a gas station. It didn't matter where I was at in the country. I did that. I happened to be in Sikeston, Missouri on a long job. I was there for 2 or 3 weeks, and so I kind of got. And it doesn't take long, even if you're an out-of-towner in small towns, for people to start recognizing you and your habits, especially if you come in at the same time every day and get the same thing. I mean, within 3 days, I would walk in, they'd have my cigarettes laying there, and they'd have, whenever I come up with my coffee, self-serve coffee, they wouldn't have my coffee waiting for me. That would be too nice. But anyway, so this one morning, I walk in, and I'm getting my coffee, and while I'm sitting there getting my coffee, there's this older woman there, and she looks at me, and then she looks at me real cautiously, and then like she's gasping for air, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you just look so familiar." And I'm like, well, I've heard this before many times. I'm like, "Ma'am, I've only been here a few days, in town a few days." I said, "I'm pretty sure you probably don't know." She says, "No, you don't understand. You look spot on like my son." And I'm like, "Oh, whoa, wait a minute now. This is creepy. This woman literally thinks I look like her son." I said, "Okay, I've had people say, I think I know you, but nobody that could ever tell me where they knew me from." So I'm a nice guy. I'm sitting there, we're chatting. She said, "Yeah, he would have been about your age probably, but 2 or 3 years ago, he was killed in a motorcycle accident." I'm like, oh, now I feel bad. I mean, okay, I'm an out-of-towner. I'm having this conversation with this seemingly nice woman, and she's telling me that I look like her son who was killed in a motorcycle accident. So, nice guy and everything. I'm talking to her. I can tell she's down and upset and everything. I'm like, what can I do? So anyways, I get my coffee, and we're kind of talking where it's first thing in the morning, rush hour. And she said, "Hey, it would mean the world to me if whenever I got ready to walk out that door, if you would wave to me and say, 'Bye, Mom.'" I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm comfortable doing that. She said, "Oh, would you please do it?" She said, I've missed my son so much. Would you please do that for me?" "All right, miss. Yeah, sure. I can do that. You walk out and I'll say, 'Bye, Mom. See you later.'" So she was got my coffee, got my donut, her breakfast sandwich, whatever it was I got that morning. She was a couple people ahead of me and in line, so she went to the cash register, and then the person in front, and then she walked up. She got done. She she walked up the door and she looked back and waved at me. I said, "Bye, Mom." She said, "Thanks for doing that." I said, "Not a problem, ma'am." She walks out the door. The person in front of me, they get their food and whatnot, get out, and then I come up, have my stuff ring up, which should be about $6 or $7 is what that normally ran me, and it came up to like $33 and change. I'm like, $33 and change. I was like, man, these cigarettes really got expensive. That's coffee. I was like, how is that possible? I'm sitting there looking at the cashier. I said, how is that? I said, I got cigarettes and a coffee. How's that $33? She said, your mom said you were paying for her stuff too. I'm like, oh. Instantly it dawns on me, I've been had. This woman has just suckered me in. And I'm like, I was like, all right. So I swiped my card. I pay for it. I said, I'm not going to run out. So I swiped my card. I run out the door. This woman is just getting to her car, hasn't left yet. I run up to her. I said, ma'am, why? Why did you do that to me? Why did you? I thought I was doing something real nice for you. I said, look, I get the con, but why? Why? I mean, why toy with somebody? And she got out of her car. I mean, the tears are streaming down. She's really playing it. The tears are streaming down her face like you wouldn't believe. And she's just, and I'm like, it's $30. It's $25, whatever it was. I mean, it wasn't much. I said, if you really needed help, ask for it. Don't try to con me. I'm a good guy. I'll help. So she's tears streaming down her face. She's starting to cry, and she's, please forgive me. I'm just, you do really look like my son. You really look like my son. And she's just crying, and I'm like, okay, I got this crying woman. I'm out of town. I don't know what to do. I'm a 25-year-old kid at this point in time. I'm at a loss. And so she's crying. Next thing I know, she hits the ground. She's crying so hard, she hits the ground on her knees. And she's just crying, and she grabs a hold of my leg, and she starts yanking on my leg. Just like that, just yanking on my leg. Did it happen? Did it not? Or am I yanking your leg? See you next time.